Welcome back to Cornerstone Cosplay. My name is Chris. And today we're going to be doing the first part to the bracer build for Hiccup's armor from How to Train Your Dragon 3: The Hidden World. There's a little bit of mechanical aspect to this. I'm going to be adding in some metal spines that are going to work similar to a bat wing, and there's going to be a sliding mechanism on it that opens it up. With that, I'm going to go step by step into all of the pieces that go into making that mechanism, and I'm also going to go through the leather working for the bracer. So the first part of this bracer build, I'm going to work a little bit with the leather crafting, and then from there I'll work a little bit further into the mechanical aspects of it. So, let's get started. Okay, so first and foremost, what we're going to be working with here is a weldable steel that you can pick up from Home Depot or just about any place that sells small pieces of metal. Here we're working with a round piece of tube. It's roughly 1/8 of an inch thick. You want to make sure that this is not galvanized or anything like that, because when you do heat it up, that is very bad for your health. It puts out a bunch of fumes that are not good for you. So make sure you find the ones that say weldable steel. Now today, I'm just going to be using MAP gas here. It burns a bit hotter than regular propane. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's a lot easier to use. But this is kind of a low-tech way of doing a little bit of blacksmithing or forge work. Now the first step that we're going to do is we're actually going to take the end of this here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through a process called upsetting, which is essentially just taking this end, smashing it down to where it creates a bit of extra material at the end, because by doing that, all it's doing is moving the material. You're not going to be removing anything from the end, you're just going to be putting it somewhere else, which means it's just going to move down into this area. And that's what we need to create the little ball end to keep the leather on the rod. So, the way we're going to do this is heat up just this end here, and then we're going to clamp this down into the vise, and from there, we're going to be able to upset this metal. So, let's get this started. Now the one thing you have to be careful about with this is that in this vise, the vise actually acts as what's called a heat sink. And what that's going to do is actually pull some of this heat away. And since this piece is so small, you're not going to have a lot of time to hit it. So exercise caution, but make sure you're hitting this quickly in order to actually upset the material properly. So now, as you can see, this edge is now a little bit wider than the rest. This is going to allow us to round this over and create a ball. Now you don't have to have this type of anvil, but you can find basic ones at even places like Harbor Freight or other very inexpensive tool places. You don't need anything fancy, especially for something this small, but what you're going to need is something with a hard, sharp edge on it, as well as a hard, flat surface. Now, let's get started shaping some metal. Now I'm going to have to do this over the course of a couple heats just because this material does break down very, very quickly as far as the amount of heat that it can retain. However, that shouldn't be too big of a problem as I go forward with this. Now the first thing I'm going to want to do is create basically a shoulder, which is two corners that are knocked off on the back side, and then also do the same thing directly around from it. So by sticking this off and hitting half on, half off, and turning this around, as I hit it, that's going to allow me to then thin out the area just below where I want the ball, as well as create a little bit more of a lip for the ball to sit on. I'm going to go back and reheat again. So now, you can see here that there's starting to form a little bit of an edge under the back here that I'm then going to go forward with and start shaping some more. Alright, so now I'm going to heat up this end again. And then this time, while it's hanging off of the edge, I am going to hit it up against this edge to help to start rounding this edge over. Now you don't want to work to a black heat. You actually want to keep this pretty darn hot to shape the metal easily and not create any sharp edges or any areas where the metal can split. This is starting to look pretty good. I just want to clean up a couple of these edges first, and then we can show it off. Now at this point I'm tapping a little bit while it's mostly cool because I'm just doing a little bit of final smoothing, but I'm not letting it get completely cold before I stop. This is the final chance I'll take to kind of straighten this out a little bit. And now to compare, I have this nice rounded ball end compared to the straight flat end that it was previously. Now this is going to work very nicely to keep that leather on the rod. Alright, let's move on. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. Tune in next time for the bracer build part 2, where I'll cover the leather portion of the bracers. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video and click that subscribe button if you'd like to see more of my content. And don't forget to hit that bell notification button. Thanks again, and see you next time.